yes, welcome to Star Trek, Trek, a journey through Star Trek as we watch it. And this week, we have watched Deep Space Nine's Season 4, Episode 23, To the Death, as brought to us by our fabulous and wonderful special guest down below on the box. Is Mr. Overtired 2, number one chatter on the stream. We thought we'd invite you here to participate in your own draft and come here. How are we, Mr. Overtired?
Doing good. Just watch Star Trek. So
we did just watch some Star Trek. It's always better when we've done that. Okay, first off, yes. Why did you pick this particular episode for your pick?
I want to pick an episode that I knew wouldn't be picked by everyone else in the draft. And so, it's, and it's an episode I really like. It's not like a status quo changing, but it's like establishing status quo. So it's just one I knew wouldn't get picked because it doesn't stand out in the way that like other big game changing things stand out. And I just like the world building of it all, and like I think this is the first time we really see like normal Jem'Hadar, and that's important to know for the threat that the Dominion is, since they're the muscle.
Yeah, sorry.
I believe Memory Alpha says this is like the third time that they show up. There's the kid raised by the Bajoran on the station. There's Hippocratic Oath that happens right after the Visitor, where I think it's O'Brien and Bashir are stranded, and they have to help them try to break free. And then I think this is the third appearance of them, so we don't know a ton. Yeah.
Well, it is the first appearance of Vorta since the search,
Daniel
and that
Day-Lewis.
Not quite.
I was close.
No, Daniel Day-Lewis is in 2 other episodes, but no, we will get to those. Actually, we've already watched one. No, this first appearance of Jeffrey Combs as Weyoun in his first ever appearance. I actually didn't realise this was the first time we saw him. I could have sworn he'd been in like some episodes of Season 3, and I didn't realise he actually got introduced quite this late into DS9's run. It's quite shocking, really. And yeah, he absolutely nails it straight from the start in this one. It's quite crazy how much he just took this character on compared to how like different he is from other Vorta.
Sure. Yeah, and they bring up cloning because they wanted him back to play more Weyoun, but they already wrote him to be dead. So
yeah, it's totally crazy.
So when we were watching, he's so over the top, sycophantic in his delivery. And if it were most other guest stars, you'd be like, they're trying way too hard. This just isn't working. But somehow Combs makes it work.
Yeah. Where
you believe he's actually like that kind of character. So yeah, I can see why they wanted to bring him back.
It's interesting dynamic because they didn't they didn't address it at first, but there's sort of that dynamic between him and Odo that they kind of brushed off until pretty much like 3/4 of the way through the episode when they have their conversation about like, I was like, oh, you are the god and this is why, and he kind of gets quite inappropriately personal in the way that later Weyouns wouldn't be. Like they'd be very much, and my founder, and I wouldn't want to impose, where he's kind of like got a little bit of a will of his own in this one.
Believe I would guess the writers retcon it, but I believe this is when Odo gets infected with the disease that forces him back, and Weyoun is the vessel through which that happens. So maybe that's why, because he's like, I'm here to like get you home.
Yeah.
And I'm polite about it if I can, but otherwise I gotta infect you with the disease.
I think Memory Alpha says like somehow Odo has 2 diseases inside him right now that end up being plot lines later on.
Man,
he keeps getting used as a carrier.
But this scene actually was hilarious. You're right; it was inappropriate, and they kept getting closer and closer in the zooms until we were like up the actor's nose, and as they're talking to each other. So it was. I mean, it was nice because at first I'm like, "What the hell are they doing? Why are they so close?" But it is like you say; it's mirroring the inappropriately personal way that he's interacting with Udo.
With Udo, yes. He looks so bored as well. Like when the Jem'Hadar come and interrupt him during his lunch, he's sitting there and he's eating dinner and they're like, we need our white, give us drugs. And he's just like, fine. It's like when my children come and ask me for something when I'm trying to do something. My dad's like, right, fine, come on then, let's do this.
If they stumble across this after you've passed, they're going to be like, it's so nice to see my father again. And he's like, God, I hate my kids.
It's not true
Always
at all.
interrupting me when I'm watching Star Trek.
Yeah, God damn it. Told you for the last time. No more drugs, kids. Okay. This episode...
Wayne
Dad,
brings
it's
his own-
Pedialyte.
Yes.
William brings his own Korean barbecue grill with him wherever he goes. He takes the little lid off. It's like, why don't you just use, I don't know, like a satchel or something? Why is it?
Well, like one of those like runner's bags just full of Ketracel white. And he just dishes it out for a little tube.
It makes more sense than...
They got
this
to lock it. It
ornate
needs to be
lid on it.
secure. And so the other Jem'Hadar can't sneak in and just like have a Ketracel white binge and just like, go mad on it.
The implication of how little they actually trust the Jem'Hadar is kind of interesting.
Yeah, this kind of sort of sets a precedent really for it, doesn't it? Sort of like, there is a definite class balance, isn't there, between the Vorta, who are pretty much one step down from the Founders, and then just the foot soldiers who are treated as such. But, given the fact that the Jem'Hadar themselves as well are conditioned in a kind of Stormtrooper-esque way to, this is our life is battle, victory is life, we are here for the white and we won't question it, unless they do, and rebel for no real reason that isn't really explained that well.
Well, there's this exposition dump early on where Wayoon is in a room with Cisco, and he gives away quite a lot of sensitive information, I thought. That he says, actually, the degree of control the Founders have of the Jem'Hadar is overstated. Like, we need the white. They're not that loyal, that's a crucial bit of information to give to a potential enemy. And then he talks about also the Iconian Gateway, which is like S-tier level tech, like to transport anything anywhere immediately in the universe is way overpowered. So, of course, they had to destroy it here, but it's like, that's
because they couldn't get
really
it to,
went out on a limb here.
They couldn't get it to stop changing channels. That's the problem.
Yes.
Send one person to every world. It changes too fast.
It's like, oh dear. No money, no shoes, no motorcycle.
Someone could write a nice novel to tie the Iconian gateways into Discovery's mycelium network.
I'm sure they have. Someone must have by now.
There are 4 Iconian Gateways novel. Literally, they're just called Gateways. I think there's one in like TOS, TNG, DS9, and Voyager, and I think they do tie them all together. And I think Wesley Crush is involved somehow. I don't know. It's been a while since I read them.
Sure.
Okay, this episode was directed by none other than LeVar Burton. For those that don't know him, he was the host of Reading Rainbow throughout the 90s, but also might have had a small role in TNG, who knows. He also directed quite prolific directing career in Trek, as well as being Geordie LaForge. Second Chances, Pegasus, The Sword of Kahless, Timeless, which he also decided...
Timeless.
Yes, which he also decided he was going to appear in as well, director's privilege. This was written by Ira Stephen Bear and Robert Hewitt Wolfe, 2 long-standing showrunners of Deep Space Nine, especially in the latter era. But of the writing credits, Ira Stephen Bear's mainly noted for Yesterday's Enterprise, The Search, The Siege of AR 558, among others, and Robert Hewitt Wolfe, A Fistful of Datas, Trials and Tribulations, Homefront, and a lot of others that he wrote with Ira Stephen Bear. Do you recognise one of the Jem'Hadar in this episode? Because I appreciate their makeup. There's 2 notable Jem'Hadar in this episode, actually. One of them was Brian Thompson, who played Toman
Is it
Torax.
Mick Fleetwood?
It's not Mick Fleetwood, no, not this
By
time.
the way, why do you ask us if we recognize and then immediately tell us?
Because I'm going to ask you who the second one was. There's like I'll give you a little bit of something and then tell you the other one. Toman Torax, played by Brian Thompson, and I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to ask you this. How many other characters did he play in Star Trek? Can you guess? Any? Okay, I'll tell you, rather than have this awkward
I can guess.
silence.
17.
Spock. 17. 17 is an incorrect answer.
All right, I'll take 16. So
Okay,
I'm
16.
Closer to the
It's closer, but also no. He played 3 other characters along this one. It's like, he played Lieutenant
I
Clag
win.
yes, from Matter of
Victory is
Honor.
life.
Yep. He played Inglatu, the Dosai from Rules of Acquisition.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
yeah.
Admiral Valdor from the 3-parter Babel United and Anar. So yeah, he was.
Dude, that jawline, I should have recognized it because that sucker was massive. So they must have done a good job hiding it under all that Jem'Hadar spikes.
They do quite. There's quite a lot of like Jem'Hadar prosthetics. You can just about make out a facial feature like especially the smiling happy one that stalks Jadzia, who's just like oddly smiling at weird times. I think he's the only kind of notable one. The rest were kind of mostly quite generic. The other notable Jem'Hadar was played by Clarence Thomas III, and he played the first Ometic clan, or Omelette de Clan. Omelette.
You said we were going to guess the next one. You liar. You do this every time.
I do this every time. His breakout role was the Mod Squad 1968, but he's been in a few other things, including things like I'm Gonna Get You Sucker and Purple Rain. But yeah, he's quite sadly passed away in 2021. Very sadly. Okay, my final quiz before I let you ramble. Final quiz, then I'll let you ramble.
As long as they're doing memory alpha pills. You get to it in a second.
Okay.
Because this actually ties into you were talking about the prosthetics. Who is this? I think it was first assistant director was talking about the filming challenges. He said, I remember thinking there's no way we're going to get all this work done. We had 25 Jem'Hadar stuntmen who had 3 o'clock makeup calls. We spent the whole day at the top of the bird sanctuary, and the only way up and down was by golf cart. The cast trailers and the honey wagon were way down below. So a logistical nightmare, he says, going up. So, was this bird sanctuary worth all the trouble?
To a golf court.
Because they're fighting in this outdoor area.
It needed to be somewhere.
Yeah, but if they had to get there by golf cart, I mean, is it worth all the effort to...
It depends what your options are. And I mean, I guess the other thing is if... I don't know, they could do outdoors on set. But...
Imagine if you're right. Okay, so you get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, bright and early, you're thinking, you know what, I'm just going to go for my nice morning run through the woods. Not morning wood.
I'm sorry, what?
Morning run through the woods.
Freudian.
Shut up. Morning run through the woods, and you're there with your morning wood, and you see 6 Jem'Hadar in a golf cart. What do you do?
First of all, that must be a huge golf cart to fit 6 of those suckers in.
I don't know. I don't play golf, so I don't know. I don't know the average seating capacity of a regular sized golf cart.
4.
Okay, all right. 4 Jem'Hadar, 3 Jem'Hadar and a driver, because I'm going to assume someone drives them. Brandishing.
I'm going to let you get back to your other memory alpha trivia before you talk about your morning wood anymore.
Okay, what other episode featured an Iconian gateway?
Oh, Contagion. TNG.
Contagion.
Bam! Double point. I'll give you both the point because of stream delay. So yeah, well done. Good.
Because we're real fans.
Yeah, because you both got memory alpha open. I get it.
No, I looked at it before to be ready.
Nice. And just to annoy Auto, if anyone can tell me what rank word count this has.
For DS9 or for all?
For all. Oh, for all.
So that's like 1,000 properties. I'm going to say it's top quarter, top 250, because there's a lot of talking in this one.
Interesting.
A lot of exposition.
Yeah. This is actually rank 320, so it's just below. Have 4,577 words in it. Top 3 speakers were Cisco, Wayoon, and Omelette. I'm just going to call him Omelette. Or Meticlan. I don't know.
When are we going to get Big Book for word count?
I've already made it. There's a spreadsheet available. I've done it. I've wasted my life.
Rankings.
Yes.
And commentaries.
Indeed. How about we have a nice slice? I actually got my bread machine out the other day and I made a nice loaf of bread. Thank you. I did genuinely get my bread machine out. It was we had free electricity for like 3 hours. I was like, I'm gonna make bread. Anyway, what was your bread of the episode? The most notable scene that stuck out to you in this entire episode? Overtired, honoured guest, honoured first of the stream, please.
Most notable scene. I just should be ready for this, but I'm not. I don't know. I guess I like anything where they're explaining like the Jem'Hadar's point of view on things. Like the little speech before they go into battle, and just like, they're, the only way they're in their mind are alive is when they're serving their function. So like, and like you shouldn't leave or what was it with the bomb where it's you blow yourself up instead of making sure the room is so the
yeah.
bomb will go off.
Yeah.
It's just
Duty over life.
You'll never succeed if you value your life more than victory.
yeah, to the suicidal degree that is, and making that make sense to how they are shown.
Auto.
Idle.
Okay.
What's your bread?
I think it's got to be
Same time.
Yes, ready? 3, 2, 1. No, it's got to be the Jem'Hadar that was talking to Jadzia, and he was just very goofy, kind of. And it's a weird moment of levity in this episode because I'm going to talk about this later. The kind of like dual nature of this episode being quite jovial and kind of very exposition-y the whole way through until like the big putty men fight scene. But yeah, that one moment where he's talking about Jadzia, about her age, and like, I am only 3, and like, well, you can't live as long as me, and then he's just smiling about like, yes, I am a Jem'Hadar, this is how we live, and she's sort of like kind of being a bit sarcastic with him as well, and it was a weird scene on the bridge, but it did just stick out to me in this whole episode of like, they talk about having teams of people going, and they try and sort of show the various Starfleet member and Jem'Hadar interactions together, but don't really expound on it too much during the actual fight, other than a brief one-liner with Jadzia when she's in the middle of her fight. But yeah, no, just that one scene kind of stuck out to me as being my bread. Auto.
I've watched this episode several times, and it doesn't stick in my head much. And I think part of it is because so most of it is them on the Defiant and these two groups, and they're sniping at each other, they're insulting each other, they get in scuffles. And I checked the timestamp as they're watching, and it's about 3/4, 2/3 of the way through before they then move on to the actual missions. So I guess my bread, just what I remember is them sitting around in the Defiant sniping at each other, which admittedly on this rewatch was actually kind of entertaining, like the little pot shots and jokes they make at each other. But it did go on quite long, and so I think that's what I'm going to remember next time someone mentions to the death.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of scene to scene kind of joviality, and then there's another scene when it was O'Brien, Dax, and I think it was Worf sitting down. They were just eating, and they were just kind of like taking
very
the mick.
Trouble with Tribbles.
It was a little bit, but the thing with Trouble with Tribbles was it was naturally just a jovial and light episode. This feels like it should have quite serious stakes. We're dealing with Jem'Hadar. We're dealing with Jem'Hadar world building and some rogue Jem'Hadar with no real explanation of why they went rogue, and they kind of just like it's just
an upper pylon cut off.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Whole. Yeah, go on.
That was pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah, seeing a whole pylon blown off was incredible, and it just goes to like, right, let's go to the Defiant, let's go, let's run away, let's just find these bastards and do this, because they did that just to raid supplies for the Iconian. It was a kind of like mix of like jovial sort of like sniping and scenes of, Weyoun and Cisco, which were quite good. I did enjoy those and other things. But how about, before we get too deep in the weeds here, let's do the
best advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance.
No.
Just stop saying that.
Okay, best and worst moments. Let's do this. Overtired. What were your best and worst moments of this episode?
Well, if to go worst first, the worst moment, I kind of feel maybe it's really bad for it to be the worst moment, but kind of the whole climax, because just like, it's fighting on a TV budget and it's large scale, and it's just like, yeah, we got to do it, and it's just like they keep it moving, and they do it about as well as you can, but it's just like, it is nice that they do show some Starfleet people dead, but we know who's not gonna die. So
there's no skin of evil.
Right. So like, and it's just it's fighting on a TV budget. It's Star Trek fighting. It's so what was this? Would have been like 1998 or something.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah, something like that. No, this would be earlier than that. This would be 96, I think. I will look it up. I will find out.
May 13th, 1996.
Oh,
Sure. So,
how was I? I was 12. Wow.
best. It's funny how passage of time is the most predictable thing and so surprising.
It is linear.
Yes. Best moment? The interactions with Wayun and the Jem'Hadar. I just like seeing how those things work, and we don't get to see them the bad guys so much. Like we never see really we do get the one episode with Troy on a Romulan ship, but we don't get to see a lot of how the Romulans interact with each other, and so just to see the other non-Starfleet stuff going on, I always like when we can do that on Trek.
I think like when we get other Jem'Hadar focused episodes, I feel like they flesh out a little bit more, like Rocks and Shoals and the ship as well, which I mentioned before. I think those are sort of more sort of interesting sort of Jem'Hadar looks and sort of like, what's like on the other side. And once we get deep into the Dominion War, when the Cardassians and the Jem'Hadar start to fight together, it gets a little bit interesting there.
Well, I think this does a good job of fleshing them out. I mean, to the extent of it's one episode, but I think what would have helped the most is they don't have a single scene by themselves. They're always interacting with Starfleet crew. You should have done one of them in the quarters talking about, how are we going to handle them when the mission's done? Are we going to stab them in the back? Are we going to do the quote honorable thing? Or like, because I called them before we started. I said they're kind of like budget Klingons in my memory. And they kind of are, but one thing that sets them apart is they're not honor bound. They're like, yeah, I'm going to stab you in the back when we're done. I don't, maybe it's not dishonorable to announce your intentions ahead of time, but anyway, just like a scene with them off by themselves where no one's watching except the audience. So you can see like more of a real look into how they behave. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not performative.
Yeah. And there's something about the Jem'Hadar in this episode I can't quite put my finger on that. I feel like they just needed a little something else, because it keeps coming back to me and said, yes, we're here to hunt down rogue Jem'Hadar because they exist. Okay, that's fine. Those are your audios. But then at the end, he shoots Wayun. Wayun dies, but there are other rogue Jem'Hadar. And I'm like, yeah, you are them. You have become the very thing you hate. And it's just a little bit of like, yes, this is our life, this is loyalty. He was not loyal, but you're supposed to be loyal to him. And it was a weird... Just a weird little mix there.
They're loyal to the founders. The Vortiv are kind of the middlemen. So.
But contracts that with Rocks and Shoals, where the Jem'Hadar are knowingly walking into a trap because their Vorta told them to.
Yeah, so. That's kind of World War One analogs there. Otto, why don't you give us your best and worst?
Idle.
Oh, God, you do this every time. All right, fine.
All right, we'll rock paper scissors for it. How about
okay.
that?
The stream's going to be so good for this.
1, 2, 3. Oh, that was the latest scissors. No,
see, on stream that came at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
You can check the
All
tape.
right, go ahead.
Fine.
Best worst.
Stupidest idea ever. Rock paper scissors on stream. Yeah, okay, fine. There's probably other ways we could have done that. Anyway.
That's a trick first.
I think the best moment is the conversation. It's just Wayun's introduction, especially the conversation he has with Sisko. And I love Wayun and love Jeffrey Combs as a character. All the people he plays. I think Wayun is my favourite one. And he doesn't. There's not that many other Vorta actors to go off of. So there's not. I imagine there's probably a little bit of something in the Bible to sort of the showrunner Bible to say, not Matthew 4:12. A Vorta must be delivering Ketracel White on the eve of morrow. No. No, there's not a lot to go on with the character, so if he had a lot of range to sort of add his own spin onto who these people are, or how this sort of race of people work, and how they contrast to the Jem'Hadar's rather sort of stoic nature. So I really liked Jeffrey Combs sort of being full Wayun from the start, not just kind of not doing like what Nog or Rom did, where they were kind of just like these introductory characters and built up to it. He had one episode, and people watched that and went, Oh, we need to get him back. He's good. We need to get him back a lot.
I feel like there's a certain gift you have to have as a bit actor to come in, know your role immediately, and smash it. Because these people aren't cast. They don't get like the 3-season contracts ahead of time. Like they're not safe to do this or that. They have to. Well, first of all, they have to fit in with Star Trek is notoriously strict with keeping to the script word by word. But you also have to be memorable enough to try to finagle your way back in for more appearances. So it, good for him.
Absolutely. My worst, I'm going to go with the Putty Men fight scene at the end. If you're going to have a brightly lit fight scene with lots of people in prosthetic, try not to make it look like the Power Rangers. This is always kind of my complaint with any fight scene in sort of 90s Star Trek, is a lot of it is just people with big, like, soft padded lurpers just, like, punching each other ever so slightly. And you might get someone done a flip on the floor, and I appreciate it is TV budget. There's only so much to do, but I always think if it's not going to look good, then don't do it. But there was very kind of like... And plus you have two Jem'Hadar sides who kind of look the same, well, who do look the same. They're exactly the same prosthetics, who then just sort of like...
You racist.
Merge and bash into each other, Attack of the Clones, literally. So yeah, that's probably going to be my worst moment of this episode. Go on, Otto.
All right, I'm going to make it a clean sweep here because that fight scene was not good. Now, if you read the behind the scenes on Memory Alpha, they devote quite a lot to talking about how disappointed they were that they cut a lot of the fighting. They had almost a minute more footage of just slaughtering Jem'Hadar. They said like almost over 32 Jem'Hadar deaths they cut out.
Release
Just
the
like
LeVar cut.
Death. Yeah. And obviously they had big intentions for it because they did go to this hard to reach shooting location. The location I think was fine. That wasn't the reason that it wasn't a great fight scene, but the cuts I don't think were the problem, because you guys are right. It was cheesy. I got a big problem with this fight scene. They get ambushed. Their weapons don't work. They get ambushed by invisible men with bladed weapons, and they end up out fighting. They said there were 150 of them, and they managed to defeat them all with an away team of like 12 guys with no weapons, ambushed. Like, it's so unbelievable. It's like even the movie 300. Yeah, even the movie 300 didn't go this far.
Point of order. There's 150 like together, but they say there's 27 at least on the base.
Nah, take that order.
Regarding it itself.
You fake fan.
Right. So it's completely fair, evenly matched. Thank you.
No, like it's a big problem in general because it's like take the Jem'Hadar in particular, but even the Klingons, how they're supposed to be like great warriors, but it's just like
where the warriors
they
also
have
bad
to be
for that.
cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just Yeah,
because the writer's talking the writer's talking about how they want to set them apart. Like, you get to know the Klingons or the Romulans to a certain extent, and that sort of takes the edge off, and you can be comfortable around them. They said they don't want the audience to be comfortable. They should be scared of the Jem'Hadar. But then they throw like hordes of them just getting destroyed left and right. They cut 32 extra deaths. How are you supposed to fear these guys if, they ought to cut Worf's leg off. Do something to really scare the audience.
No. He got
to
sent
take
to
him
quarters.
seriously. And then, that's true. You think he was still on the ship in his quarters while they're fighting down?
Well, that's what I wondered. When he said, like, right, you're in your quarters for the rest of the mission, he goes, oh, I get to miss the big fight. But no, I didn't think they were going to be that stupid and have your major player, like, miss the fight. Come on.
So we've all harped on that. I'm going to take a second worst. Later in that scene, when they're fighting hand-to-hand, Jadzia is just delivering the worst, like, generic good guy lines. You'll make honored elder yet, while she's, like, swinging her weapon around. It was bad. I got two best for you. First of all, the pylon blowing off. Like, that's a great introductory. That hooks you. I always say you either want something to hook you at the beginning or really memorable at the end so that it leaves a good taste in your mouth. And they opted for the first one, I guess, and it was effective. It was pretty cool.
That's the
second best.
Worf's arm off you would have wanted later.
Yeah, the floating tourniquet in space that we got in First Contact, that kind of thing. Second best, I like that the first kills Wayun, because that was the one moment I think where we finally saw, okay, they are unique. They're going to step outside their structure. They're going to do something unexpected, which is important if you want people to pay attention. So I like that they blew away Wayun at the end.
Yeah, there's some interesting parts about this episode, but I feel like it's time for gentlemen.
I can show you my rating code.
Schiller rating 3.5. Associational rating norm -3. That's much too low a rating.
I was not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
Oh, are we going to see an unsatisfactory rating among a member of our guests, our honoured guests' favourite ever episode of all time?
Exactly.
A point of order.
Okay. Overtired, since you are our guest, you get to pick the Schiller rating we're using for this episode. So what are we going to go with? How many what out of what? Out of 10.
Oh, damn. How many Ketracel white hot pots?
Okay, there you go.
Ketracel white hot pots out of 10. Well, since you're here, why don't you give first what is your rating and why?
I'll come down to a 7 just because maybe I've seen it too close together, and but I still think it's really good for setting the table for the Dominion and how they work and everything. But the fight scene at the end, okay, seeing it twice in 1 week makes it a lot weaker.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to come down for that, and but I still think it's, I think it's a good episode, and it does what it needs to do, and it doesn't waste time at the end. It's just like, we're done, we're out, show the ship over the planet, credits, done.
Yeah,
get out of here.
Let's get the hell out of here. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So you'd give it 7 what out of 10?
7 Ketracel white hot pots out of 10.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Hot pot.
Which one is it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Am I going to throw it to you? Or are you going to throw it to me? All right, I'll go.
Go.
So I pre-rated this at 5. I'm going to come up to a flat 6 on this. I think it's ironic because I actually enjoyed the parts on the ship where they're sniping at each other more than the big exciting conclusion. It did, you're right, it showed a lot about their culture, and they showed in relief to Starfleet several times, like, how do we handle weapons, how do we handle discipline, how do we handle training, and they go kind of systematically. This is the way Starfleet would do it, this is the way the Dominion and the Jem'Hadar would do it. But that did go on a little long. It had a disappointing denouement, the climax at the end. I liked some of the joking. O'Brien was really off the cuff in this episode, like for how he normally is.
Like the Jem'Hadar at the end, he goes like, victory is life. He has that whole moment. There's a big cultural moment, and he's just like, victory is life. Look at us. We're going to live.
Dude, but he was funny. I really enjoyed Miles in this one. Also, this confused me. Their mission was to get the Iconian Gateway out of control of the Jem'Hadar. So they go down, kill a bunch of Jem'Hadar. New Jem'Hadar take over. They're like, all right, you guys are good here. We're going to leave. And I know that like they destroyed the gateway, but maybe
I don't know if they checked.
Nothing changed in this episode. Yeah, maybe there's a second gateway. I feel like nothing was actually accomplished because they just replaced one sect of rebellious Jem'Hadar with another one who killed the Vorta, so they're also rebellious. I felt like they didn't really. But
well, and however big that bomb was, it was not big enough that they couldn't run away from it.
That's true.
Also caused a seismic event on the planet because the whole ground was shaking as well. So, or it's just affected the cameraman.
On the ground. About it, in Contagion, they do talk about like the power supply getting destroyed, and that's how they destroyed it, ensured it would be destroyed. So maybe that's how the justification is.
So I thought it was. I mean, it was a good watch. It's not all that memorable. Sad to say, but when you do watch it, I think you have a good time. I had a good time. So yeah, I'll give the 6 Catch Yourself White hot pots out of 10.
I'm feeling about a 6. I think I might go up to a 6.5 overview. It was enjoyable. Like there is a nice. It's almost a slice of life episode, really. I think if they'd have focused on, the episode I kind of think similar as sort of learning curve, where Tuvok has to take the Marquee crew through their paces, and I kind of feel like if this episode had been more of the Starfleet and Dominion or the Jem'Hadar comparisons, they're training together, mixed missions, and they're having to sort of like work together, overcome things together, and sort of really hammering home the differences, but not at a negative to the Jem'Hadar. It could have been a little bit better. I feel like what let this down for me, or at least stopped it being any higher, was just a kind of inconsistent between sort of like the snarky points in the episode, the kind of long drawn out bits, and then you've kind of got the actual resolution to the crisis. I think the resolution to the crisis be like they get to wherever they are, and turns out that this Vorta had been lying all along, and there wasn't actually a crisis. This was just a way to test Starfleet or something like that, and then they could skip the whole fight scene, and then there's again another like duplicitous nature of the Dominion. I did really like the world building. There's like you say, you get better look at the Jem'Hadar, and especially the Vorta as well, and sort of their parasocial relationship that they have between the two of them, and what kind of boundaries they have set up in their structure. The Jem'Hadar aren't just mindless drones led to the slaughter. They do have objectives, and they're kind of Herogenish in a kind of non-nomadic way, in that they have that kind of call to honor and duty, but not quite in the same kind of reckless way that a Klingon does. So there is enough to differentiate here, how much that we haven't seen. So yeah, I'm going to go with a 6.5 Ketracel White hot pots out of 10, which takes this episode to an average of 6.5 Ketracel. Well, funny that with you picking a 6 and you picking a 7 and me picking a 6.5. It's a 6.5.
Math.
It's
Crazy
mad,
math. Yeah.
So yeah,
Learning Curve's a good episode to cite as a parallel, because that also has the really cheesy line at the end about if you can learn to bend the rules, we can learn to follow them. So.
Yeah, but doesn't that one kind of earn it? Because Dolby is a dick the entire time, and then he finally turns over a new leaf. It is cheesy, but
well, the good news is we rated this better than the Lorelei signal.
Hold on.
Oh, go on.
If Lieutenant Dolby delivered that line while he was swinging a Jem'Hadar weapon,
for emphasis,
would that make it a better line? Sorry.
That would make that line so long.
Okay, yeah. So no, this scored slightly better than the Lorelei signal. Not quite as good as Caretaker, or the motion picture scored better than it. So clearly, better than what can. Better than Parallax. Better than Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
A fake inflated rating so you would feel better. The motion pictures.
I was there when you guys were giving your heartwarming, maybe Idol was right all along speech.
Have a look at that spreadsheet. Let's see those formulas.
It's perfectly legitimate. There's
it's
nothing
not too late to change.
By the way, you might be interested to know off the fact I have been keeping a track of what we've been rating Star Trek as an overall as we've been rating this, and currently Star Trek itself is sitting at a 6.4. We think it's 6.4 out of 10 at the moment. But we have watched a lot of bad episodes.
No.
For a while there, I was starting to think you guys didn't like Star Trek based on all the ratings you were giving it.
I know, right?
Well, we started this beginning. That wasn't right. Oh, that's not right, as Guy Fleegman would say.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, Overtired. You've been an absolute delight. And thank you for bringing this episode to our attention. I don't know if we would have picked this one, but it's good to have sort of like alt picks outside of our generals. Like, let's just pick all the amazing episodes from Spectrum, and it's a good look at some of these things. But any final words, shout outs, or anything you want to say to anyone before I cut you off?
You say that as someone who picked motion picture. Of course, we're going to pick some Duff episodes too.
Get out of here. Let the man speak.
No, I'm good. I got nothing to say. I'll keep watching.
Awesome. We need you in chat. All right, thank you for joining us. We'll be back sometime. Otto, you're off on your holidays for a couple of weeks, so we're going to maybe come do some game streams for a little bit, and we might come back with some more Trek very soon. But keep an eye on the YouTube channel, on our Discord as well. And please, when you join our Discord, please don't be a spammer. We have that problem a bit lately. It's all fun. Anyway, live long, prosper, and stay taking white. No, just ta-ra. Bye.
It's all set.
What's all set?
I got Hooker lined up with a dude who's gonna give him the deal of a lifetime in a new Porsche.
A Porsche?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you should wait. You might get a better deal through the state.
Yeah?
Yeah, we just did some story on a guy who's selling stolen Porsches off a lot on Main. Real sleazy character.
What's his name?
Delvin, Kelvin,
Melvin?